is up, guys? It is Patrick. And apparently it has a red, dropped frames. Shite. Holy hell. Shoot. Well, I can close that. So we're gonna be doing 10 true scare. No, we're not. I lied. We're not doing that. My bad. Wait. I was gonna be clicking on that. So let's watch this, guys. Let's do this, y'all.
SmartStop Self-Storage is the smart way to secure your belongings and make your life more organized.
Sorry if you can hear that.
I respect the police for all of the craziness that remains a constant in the job for so many of them. For convenience, I will call the two main characters Rob and Dave. This is no urban legend, but a story that my friend's dad from Central Oregon once casually told her and I. My friend's dad is a cop, and he told it like this. One evening, he and his rookie partner were driving through their town around midnight and pulled over a car with the taillights out. The driver was a sweet old lady. While they were asking her about fixing them, a small black cat came from the side of the road, meowed, and jumped onto the police car. Upon inspection, Rob noticed that the cat was missing both of its eyes. It was a small town, and being only a cat, they figured they would just take it over to the animal shelter. They finished talking to the lady, and the rookie Dave went and got the radio to let the local shelter know they would be bringing an animal over. They got the cat in the back seat and began to drive to the shelter. Rob was driving a little slower for the cat's sake, so he had a good chance to catch a view of the great flat desert off in the distance. "Hey Rob, do you see that?" Dave asked, staring onward as well. "Yeah, I think it must be some kids. Maybe they got fireworks." They both had noticed small flickers of light coming from way out in the distance. The flickers were definitely some type of flames, but the way they were flashing made it hard to tell if they were coming from campfires or something else. Either way, they both knew that any kind of fire was illegal in that area during that time of year, so they decided to go check it out after they were done dropping off the cat. They got to the shelter and took the cat inside to one of the staff. They went to put the cat into a kennel, and it immediately went from calm and still to hissing, clawing, and thrashing. They wrestled the cat into the cage, got the door closed, and locked it in there, where it remained visibly upset, hair standing up and hissing menacingly at all three of them. Rob and Dave agreed to investigate more about the cat further after they figured out the flashing lights situation and took off towards the desert. It was 2 in the morning at this point, and the lights were still there, even more visible, as if he had been hiding there. He was wearing a hood as well, but his robes were a bright red compared to the dark blue of the others' robes. "Who are you, and what is going on here?" Rob said sternly. "We've been waiting for you," as the sound was moving, in a circle around them. Whatever was running out in the darkness was circling them, and getting closer. Rob shouted to Dave, "Hey, draw your weapon." Dave didn't seem to hear him, and he just stood there as if he was dumbfounded by the whole situation, or as if he was lost in thought. Rob turned back to the man in the red robes and saw that the man was no longer on the ground, but levitating about 5 feet in the air and rising. The footsteps were really close now, and there was no doubt in Rob's mind that some animal was closing in on them for an attack. Rob ran over to Dave, grabbed him by the shoulders, and gave him a hard shake. "What the hell is wrong with you?" He screamed and slapped him across the face. Dave snapped out of it instantly. His face dropped into a frown and he started yelling. He then drew his gun and aimed it at the man in the red robes. At this point, he had risen pretty far up off the ground. The moment Dave started walking towards the robed man and his gun drawn, the man began descending. His hands went from a strange position that they were in to a "don't shoot" position. When the man's feet touched the ground, all of the hooded figures around the fire snapped out of their daze and started crying and screaming. They all seemed terrified and confused as to where they were and how they got there. The girl in the white dress was hysterical. The footsteps of the creature stopped instantly. Rob and Dave handcuffed the man in the red and threw him in the back of the police car and rounded up the rest of the people there. They found out after some questioning that all the people in the blue rows were all teenagers who had zero memory of how they even got there. They called their parents and waited for them to all get picked up after getting statements from everyone. Then they took the man in the red back to the station for questioning. It turned out that the man in red was a member of a Levi Satanist church. He apparently had reached a high level within the church and was attempting to reach the next level with a ritual sacrifice. The blue-robed teenagers were impressionable high schoolers from around the state who were trying to impress the man in the red enough to be invited into his circle and ascend to a greater level themselves. They all met through the internet, and this man had invited them to a gathering place. The last thing any of them remembered was arriving at a different gathering place in town, and then waking up around the fire during the commotion. The kids were distraught but okay. When the police went to question the man in the red, he laughed and mocked the kids for their weakness, and explained that the ritual wasn't meant to be a sacrifice of the girl in white, but rather was meant to be interfered with. The girl in the white was supposed to be bait for the righteous to come and attempt to rescue. The officers themselves were intended to be the sacrifice to whatever creature was circling them, and through sacrificing righteous innocence, he would have ascended to one of the highest levels of the church. The man babbled mindlessly and ranted about demons in the week for a while, but this was the gist of what he explained to the officers. They locked him up and called it a night. The next morning, Rob and Dave were shocked to find out that the man had escaped from the local jail that night, as if without a trace. There was no evidence of anyone aiding his escape or signs that the doors had been tampered with in any way. It was as if he just disappeared overnight. Going over the police report, Dave got a call from the local animal shelter. The cat that they found the previous evening had disappeared as well under the same exact circumstances. It was as if the cat and the man had never existed in the first place. Rob and Dave studied the Satanic Church further for a while, but eventually decided to let it go and move on with their lives. This story remains true to them to this day. Hi, I'm about to tell you a story that's absolutely true. My grandfather lived in Mighton, Utah, and he told stories about skinwalkers and how they could take form of any animal or anyone you knew. I asked him one day, "Did you ever meet one?" And he told me, yes. I asked him when. "A very long time ago, before you were even born, before your mother was born. It was when I was young and foolish. I went to the valley, the Skinwalker Valley. It's a valley where life never enters, not even the crows. The very guardians of death will never go there. They too fear the evil that lives out there.